Okay, good Sunday afternoon. My video quit filming. I had filmed like a third of my material, but then it just kind of stopped on me, so I'm gonna go ahead and try this again with my camera facing the other way. I had it like this, but okay. Anyways, so today we're talking about coffee and tea, what I use, how I make my coffee and my tea. Coffee and tea are huge components of my diet, and I highly recommend incorporating both into your diet. Some people just don't like coffee. If that's the case, that's okay. If you don't like coffee, I highly recommend substituting with something like green tea or maybe some cacao. Make you some organic, natural hot chocolate in the mornings because that's going to give you a little bit of a caffeine boost as well. But most people I know like a good cup of coffee, but I'm going to go ahead and explain also what you should avoid. So, without further ado, I'm going to start with coffee, and you really do want to try to use organic coffee if at all possible. This one right here I got from Brookshire's, Organic Love Buzz, USDA organic. This is probably my favorite coffee. I'm also a really big fan of Seattle's Best, but you want to try to use organic because coffee is really, honestly, it's one of the most heavily sprayed crops, and a lot of people don't know that, but honestly, I believe drinking coffee, no matter what kind you're drinking, still the benefit still outweighs the cons regardless of what you're using. But I do recommend organic. It's so much better for you. Obviously, filtered water all the way. Don't make your coffee with tap water because it's the same concept as drinking a glass of tap water. You just don't want to do it. Okay. So, if you don't have organic or all you have is regular, just go with 100% Arabica, which is something basically like Community Coffee, Seattle's Best. There's so many different brands, but basically this stuff, it's still sprayed, but it'll say 100% Arabica, and you really want to go with 100% Arabica regardless of whatever coffee you're using if it's not organic. So this is my secondary. Honestly, I'll be honest, I do use this on a fairly regular basis. So not saying it's the best, but when you can't get your organic, definitely make sure it's 100% Arabica. What you don't want is this right here. One of my family members is really big on this. This is what we call Robusta. Okay, so there are two types of coffee, Arabica and Robusta. Robusta is your secondary type of regular Joe that is more, it has more pesticides, chemicals, it's more processed. This stuff you really don't want to use it. But if you have to and you don't have anything else, I still feel that the benefit would outweigh pros versus cons on this. So you're still going to get a benefit, but you're still going to have a little bit of that, that risk there. So I would definitely not recommend Robusta coffee. So that's what we call this. So this is going to be like, store brand, Folgers is Robusta. Folgers is like glorified the best quality of Robusta. But yeah, so you get my drift on that. So that's what we don't want. So we're kind of just going to put that out of the picture here. Okay, so I got my little mat laid out here so I can show you. As far as making my coffee, my favorite way to make coffee is through a French press. As you can see here, this one's a little bit dirty. I need to clean it, but French press, in my opinion, is really the healthiest way to make coffee. It's also fast and efficient, and it's just a really good fresh cup of coffee. So I also use a regular coffee maker a lot. I don't like to get them with a whole lot of plastic. The more glass, the better, because plastic, even if it's BPA free, it can leach all kinds of different chemicals. Not saying I never use plastic, because I do. I use a lot of Tupperware products, but you just want to be mindful of what you're using, how you're making your coffee, and definitely take that into consideration. So French press, definitely my favorite. If you're using a regular coffee maker, excuse me, these are unbleached coffee filters, the brown ones. I understand most people think they look ugly. They also tend to be a tad bit more expensive, so most people just flat out don't buy them. Well, let me tell you, You want these filters if you are making coffee the traditional way. The reason I'm telling you this is because bleached paper products, including your white bleached out coffee filters, when something hot, when that material heats up, it leaches out what is called chemicals known as dioxins. And dioxins are highly, highly carcinogenic chemicals that are linked to all sorts of problems. Now, some experts believe that your coffee or whatever it is has to reach an extremely, extremely high temperature to leach anything out. Some people will even say it's as much as 600 degrees Fahrenheit. But to make a long story short, me personally, I don't take my chances. If something is super, super hot and you are putting it into a white styrofoam cup, or you're using white coffee filters, if you're using one of those white paper cups like you would get from Starbucks, something of that nature, just be careful. If you are going to put some coffee or some hot drink in that type of a cup, you really want to try to either bring your own cup, like a thermos or a tumbler or a mug. If you don't, put a little bit of water or some kind of, ice or something in the bottom before you put the hot fluid in it. So just kind of a quick tip on reducing your overall toxic load on your body, because most people don't know this. And literally like 99 out of 100 people have no idea what dioxins are or how they are released. So this is why we're using these brown coffee filters. So we've talked about dioxins, and the same goes for paper towels, toilet paper. When you're cleaning, you don't want to clean like near a hot stove or anything like that and get your material super hot, because it can and will leach out these carcinogenic chemicals. And I'm not an expert, I'm not a doctor. I am no expert in any way, shape, or form. So I am an expert in my own little way with the things that I research, but these are all my findings, my opinions. So definitely just covering my butt on that. So there's for our coffee, and we'll quickly talk about tea before I end this video. So this would just be a basic example. This is one of my favorite teas, Yogi. When it comes to tea, same with coffee, you really want to go organic, because tea leaves tend to be heavily sprayed with pesticides. So definitely think about that. Okay, so this is a really good brand. Any organic brand is usually pretty good, but as you can see, this tea has all these other herbs in it. So just a basic example. Green tea is really good for helping to keep your blood pressure in check, and green tea is honestly pretty much a cure-all. Most of us know that green tea is super healthy. So the thing about your tea, other than organic, is you definitely want to be extremely careful about your tea bags. Okay, so let's see if I can open this up and get a quick look at it. I haven't opened it up, actually. Okay. So, the thing about tea bags, it's a very similar concept with the dioxins, but let me get one out here. Should have done this beforehand. Okay. So, as you can see, it's just the pack here. Green tea, super antioxidant, helps to reduce free radicals. So, let me open it up real quick. Alright, so this is our tea bag, and it looks pretty white, but this is an unbleached tea bag, and you really want to make sure that you're using unbleached tea bags, because your dioxins can still leach into the hot water, and we all know hot tea gets really, really hot, or it can. So you really want to be careful about your bags with your tea. So you really want to be just as careful with your coffee as your tea. And this is something a lot of people don't know, so I really felt called to do a video on it, because honestly, most people, they think, oh, it's coffee, it's healthy. Oh, it's tea, it's healthy. But no, honestly, you're not getting near as much benefit if you are not doing these things and avoiding certain things. So you can get some major, major health benefits from your coffee and your tea by just doing these simple things and avoiding things like this. So Yeah, that's going to be about it for today. And I'm thinking tomorrow's video we're probably going to do on cookware, safe types of cookware to use, and how you should go about using your cooking utensils, making them safe, etc. So we'll go all over that tomorrow, and that's another big topic that I have a lot of knowledge on. So thank you for watching.